Next fight, man, we got a really intriguing fight right here with Darren Elkins. He's taking on TJ Brown. And Darren Elkins, he's a guy that's basically a legend in the UFC. He might not be someone that's going to be in the UFC Hall of Fame or anything like that, but he has quite a few records. He's been able to maximize everything that he's brought, his physicality, his athleticism, his fighting capabilities, and stay in the UFC for an extremely long time and be really successful. Beat a lot of guys that probably he shouldn't have beaten, and he's still doing it even to this day. He is coming off the loss to Jonathan Pierce, but I thought he performed well in that fight. I thought it was a lot more competitive than people probably assumed, even though Pierce kind of won by a fairly wide margin. He didn't finish Elkins. He didn't hurt Elkins badly really at many points. He didn't dominate him, and Elkins was able to land quite a few strikes of his own, and it was a fairly competitive striking fight. And he was able to look really good against Tristan Connolly. Did have that bad loss to Cub Swanson, but I think that would have happened at probably any point in their careers. It's just a bad stylistic matchup with Swanson having that extremely good movement, footwork, and speed, and just being so explosive and dynamic when he closes that distance. It's just a terrible matchup for Elkins, but he's getting a guy in TJ Brown who's been up and down in the UFC and been up and down in his career in general. And I feel like he's kind of one of these guys that's shown to be a little bit of a flake at times, where he could be winning a fight and then blow it, bad fight IQ. He could get tired and kind of give in to the pace and accept a loss. And those are the type of guys that you want to look at Darren Elkins and look hard at him for a pick and a bet when he's fighting a guy like that, because you know Elkins is rock solid. I mean, the guy, he's never going to bend or break, and you're going to have to really just beat him down to get him out of there, knock him unconscious, or just be extremely technical for 3 rounds. And TJ Brown, I think early he could start really well. I think he actually does against a lot of guys. You look at his fight with Bill Algeo, first round, he landed a lot of heavy shots, pressuring forward, being really aggressive. He was throwing some heavy calf kicks, 1-2s, and I think early on he's going to have a big speed advantage, big power advantage on Elkins. He's going to be able to walk him down and land a lot of heavy strikes, but that's, to me, not the style to beat Elkins, because I don't think TJ Brown's one of these guys with massive power. I mean, you've seen a majority of the opponents that he's fought in the UFC have been able to hold up against his power just fine. He hasn't finished that many guys with strikes, and Elkins is, an unkillable guy. I don't think TJ's going to be able to really hurt him with strikes too badly. I mean, he might be able to overwhelm him at certain points, but I just don't see him getting him out of there with strikes early is my main point. And when TJ gets tired, Elkins is going to start to pick it up, and Elkins is going to be shooting a lot. We've seen TJ lose in wrestling fights. We've seen him get submitted before. And if this becomes a wrestling match, I know Elkins has a lot better wrestling. And even on the feet, I think as the fight goes on, I think Elkins can land more, be more successful there. And I just don't trust TJ Brown over 3 rounds to beat a guy like Darren Elkins. I think Darren Elkins can break him and get a submission at some point in the fight, or at least win the decision. I just feel like TJ is going to start fast, but he's going to end up making some mistakes. Elkins going to capitalize on those mistakes, drain TJ, get him tired, and then end up getting the finish or the decision win. So I'm going to pick Elkins via submission in this fight, and I think he's going to get the job done.